Hello there! In this video I want to share with you the winter bikes of Munich. These are bikes I've spotted in the streets which are capable of being ridden in the winter and at the same time mostly not too precious so that one doesn't have to worry about them rusting away. And finally bikes that look appealing to some extent, at least if you ask me. So why am I doing this? Well, I've recently injured my left hand, unfortunately, so I have to take a break from cycling and all other sports. That's why I thought I used this opportunity to just walk across the streets of Munich and share some nice bicycles with you. Also, in the end of the video, I'm doing a little ranking of the top 3 winter bicycles I've spotted. So stay tuned for the end, please. What I also include afterwards is a little collection of what makes a good winter bike in my opinion. Here's our first candidate. What do we have here that looks good? A Kuwahara Cascade. I think that's a touring and all-terrain bicycle mix that Kuwahara, I think, sold from the mid-80s to the early 90s. Has a really interesting dynamo by Sanyo, if I'm not mistaken, and some very solid Suntour and Sugino components. Steel is Ishiwata quadruple butted, so 4 different thicknesses. If I'm not mistaken, I've seen this bicycle, or at least the same model, for sale online earlier this year, and I was only hesitant because it's a little bit too small for me. But yeah, overall a very cool bike. Next up I spotted this trekking bike by Raleigh, and please British viewers don't be mad at me if that was pronounced wrong. Very nice with 700C wheels, but it misses some fenders. I went along over the river Isar. Pretty winter sunshine on that afternoon. This district, it's Isarvorstadt or Glockenbachviertel, is full of nice bicycles. And pigeons, apparently. There I spotted a Giant from I think 1986 or 85, the Expedition model. I have the 87 model and it's a great bike. I think these were made by Koga in the Netherlands. Well, it seems like some people ride through winter together. Also nice. And I like the XT crankset. Or cranksets. Then I found some proper X-Bikers bicycle. A Titan or Titan bicycle with very wide handlebars and a gigantic front rack. And even dynamo lights, very convenient for winter. I think we can agree that somebody put quite some thoughts and energy and dedication into this bike. And the result looks really cool. Next bike I encountered was this one here. Some old cross or trekking bike with Tange Prestige tubing. I've rarely seen that before. Normally these old trekking bikes have Tange Infinity or something like that. Also came with multiple XTR parts and a very interesting raw finish. Maybe this bike is even a bit too precious for the winter streets. Talking about precious. Awesome sunlight for the whole afternoon. Through the Glockenbach district I made my way further into the city center. Here in the background you can see the buildings where the bicycle co-op is. And I wanted to see if some nice bikes are parked in front of it. But I was disappointed a bit. Rather chaos than nice bikes. But maybe there's potential. As I was walking, the sun was disappearing more and more. Here I have reached Viktualienmarkt. I think this Porsche bicycle is not so suited for winter. At this point, shout out to Michi in Stuttgart. Even though this bike looks very cheap, it's properly suited for winter in my opinion, with wider tires, fenders, and yeah, being inexpensive and old. In contrast to that, this Kuwahara does not have fenders, so I think it needs some for winter cruising. I like the fact though that the fork has lowrider eyelets. And further walking. Cities are full of parked bicycles in Germany. How is that in your country? This bike also has a good basis for winter riding, but I would certainly change the handlebars. It even has Tange tubing, so good quality steel. Not only nice bicycles, also very interesting and unique stores are there in city center of Munich. Here I've made it to the heart of the city center, the town hall marketplace, with the famous town hall of Munich. The tower looks so impressive, but I have to say, it also always overwhelms me a bit with its architectural lushness. Back to bikes. Is it for you the same as for me, that you always mind all the bikes around you while walking through the city? Probably not. Here's a nice old Hercules. That's a German brand, and this is a road bike with decent components, I would say. But certainly not the best winter bike. This one is better, and probably even worthy of the top 3. What do you think? Front rack, dynamo lights, full fenders, rear rack, good brakes, and a nice old Centurion steel frame. So props to the owner. But please change the saddle. Alright, here now to something very special in my opinion. Special and not special. Kettler mountain bikes. These were very affordable mountain bikes, and you can find them quite cheap and quite often online as used bikes, but only in Germany as far as I know, as this is a German brand. Anyways, they offer wide tires, often come with fenders stock and also lights and a rear rack, so very capable, and yeah, again, not expensive. And I think they always look as solid as a tank. Continuing around Viktualienmarkt, but despite all the possibilities, I wasn't hungry. And the sunlight was climbing upwards more and more. So I slowly went back. On the way back I saw this Univega, so a made in Japan bike. What a great color combination with this chromoly frame and the tires. But some fenders would be nice for winter. I went back through Glockenbach district and suddenly I encountered the smallest winter bicycle on my walk. Pretty. And apart from that, what a good looking jewelry store and workshop at the same time probably. Parked in its vicinity was this Cannondale, apparently also restored quite properly. Nice bike, even though I have to admit I'm not a fan of vintage Cannondale bikes. I am a fan though of vintage Koga Miata bikes. This is an old Koga Miata World Traveler and it's not even locked, so apparently given up. At this point I was getting colder and colder, so I decided to call it a day and walk home quickly. On my way home I encountered this bicycle being parked, well, let's say in a very artistic manner. And as I was very cold already, I took the subway. On the next day we had some more snow and I saw this pretty Koga Miata. also an old Kogamiata steel bike, probably from the mid-90s. So many bikes are too precious to be ridden in these conditions. And apart from all the dirt and salt landing on the bikes, it can also be dangerous, especially on the streets that are not very well cleared of the snow and mud. Another Kettler. Again, I think these are the perfect budget winter bikes, these old Kettler mountain bikes. They come with thumbies, often with fenders, a rear rack, even a kickstand, and sometimes lights that are still working. Finally, they're inexpensive and don't look too bad. Alright, that's it so far with my findings of winter bikes in Munich. Please let me know in the comments which one was your favorite, or also what makes a good winter bike for you. Now I want to come to my promised top 3. And a little hint, they are all from Japan, but there are no Bridgestones. In my opinion, these very popular old Bridgestone bikes are really nice, but my favorites are other ones. This Kuwahara deserves an honorable mention. I think it's mostly stock, except for the front rack, and in my opinion such a capable and worry-free winter bicycle. Alright, let's come to my third place. It's a 1986 Kogamiata Terra Runner, so the second to best model of Kogamiata. An all black steel frame with lugs, nice SL8050 thumb shifters, the Unishift by Shimano with a ratchet, and a cool looking fork. I know this bike doesn't have fenders, but with its wide handlebar and wide tires and rear rack and good components, I think that's an almost perfect winter bike. Well, except for the fenders and maybe lights. Coming to second place. This is a Kogamiata Ridge Runner SE from 1986. I think this frame is very rare in Germany, and I can't believe that I spotted one of these in the streets. As you can see, it comes with modern components, which is unfortunate because originally it had the deer head component group by Shimano. But it has fenders and even dynamo lights, so very well suited for winter. But almost too precious for being ridden in the winter. I mean, look at this fork. Let's come to first place. Surprise! It's another Kogamiata. It's a 1988 Terra Runner, so again the second to top MTB by Kogamiata. And it comes in full original components, except for an upgrade with lights. And not some ordinary ones, but dynamo hub and lights by Son, so very high quality. And I think that's a statement. The owner is so convinced by the quality of this bike and components that he put such high quality upgrades on it. Yeah, that's my first place. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Maybe I'm a bit biased towards Kogamiata, but I think these are awesome old mountain bikes. Here are again some honorable mentions. This Centurion with fenders and dynamo lights, the Giant Expedition, also with old lights and fenders and a beautiful frame. And then this custom build here, where you can see that a lot of effort and thoughts went into it to make it a very good city bike. These are all honorable mentions and also very good winter bikes in my opinion. Although this one here almost looks a bit too precious and well put together to be ridden in winter. But ultimately it's the owner's decision. So let's do a wrap up. What makes a good winter bike to me? On what basis did I select these bikes? First of all, they have to be old. Not only because I like the looks of many old bikes, but also because that automatically can make it easier to bear to ride them in the terrible conditions of winter city streets. If your frame has some rust spots anyways, or if it was very cheap, it's not such a big deal. Some more rust spots won't be the problem then. Also in the dark season, the likelihood that the bike gets stolen might be higher, and with an old, not very precious bike, you don't have to worry so much about it getting stolen. As for parts, I always recommend wide tires, best with a good puncture protection and some studs or bigger profile. Then I recommend fenders so that you don't get dirty. I recommend wider pedals with good grip because often your feet will be wet. And I recommend a kickstand, a rear rack and dynamo lights because it's getting dark early. Alright, that's it for the video. Please like and subscribe if you want to support the channel and let me know in the comments what you think about this video. Thank you and bye bye. Well. In this video I want to reintroduce my bonus material. Here are my top 3 of abandoned or at least non-locked bicycles in Munich. On position 3 we have the Kogamiata World Traveler I've shown you before. I'm not sure if the seat post might be stuck, but frame and also the parts are very good quality. On position 2 we have this Muddy Fox mountain bike. I've seen it there unlocked for multiple days and the paint job is really nice and also solid components. However, at some point it was just gone. First place is this bike here with multiple old XTR parts unlocked in the streets. It was probably not given up, but very interesting to see. Alright, and that's really it for today. Do you also have abandoned bikes in your city? Would be interesting to know. I mean, you never know. You can't just take them home with you because technically it's still somebody's property. Yeah, but sometimes they're very good bikes, seemingly given up in the streets. Alright, hope to see you soon. Bye bye.